is our got it. All right. So good evening, everyone. So this session, it would be discussing like how to use no code when doing freelancing. And our guest for tonight here in the Philippines, it's already evening. So our guest for tonight, it's Remi Besnard. And yeah, he's the CTO and co-founder of Naviu. I just got this from your LinkedIn account, Remi, but
It's accurate.
it's a tech company which specializes in creating cutting edge digital solutions for businesses by leveraging full code and no code technologies. So I let Remi expound on that more. But yeah, welcome for this evening, Remi.
Thank you. No, you said it all. So yeah, I'm Remi, the CTO of Naviu. We are a software agency. So originally we work only with traditional coding technologies. And now we're also expanding into also building the software for our clients using no-code tools. We mainly use Bubble, but of course, all the stacks, the common stacks, we also use them like make.com, Airtable, Webflow, beyond other. And I think that's all we do. We are now 15, so we have basically like 5 full code developers, 5 no-code developers, and the rest like product, QA, and sales. That's who we are now.
Just curious, Remi, like your client base is mostly based in like which continent or country?
Yeah, so our clients are mainly based in Western Europe. So the UK, France, Spain, Portugal, and Germany, and the US.
Okay. So you have no clients yet here in Asia or
Not yet.
yeah, I think like in also in the no code community, most of the developers our clients is also based in different countries. I know Crystal, you have more insight on that one.
Yeah, I think it depends, but yeah, on our side, we usually have like Western Europe also, and Australia, sometimes America also. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, hopefully as you notice, the no code community isn't that huge in the Philippines yet, but yeah, this is one step to making it more known within our country. And yeah, I don't think I've introduced myself. Sorry. But to our audience, I'm Rona Gumia. I'm the director for community of the No Code PH group. So you'll see me mostly in the Discord, in our Discord server. And yeah, I think we have prepared some questions for Remi just to help us go through this session. So I think you mentioned, Remi, you've used both like the traditional project development, like software, creating software, and you also use no code. So what made you decide to use no code and within your company in some of your projects?
Good question. So before creating the agency, I was freelancing as a backend developer, so using many Python, Django. Then I started the agency, working a lot with people in the Philippines, and I was seeing some no-code tools popping up that were quite interesting as well. So AppSheet, for those who know, AppSheet is the no-code platform of Google, but I think they closed it since then. And it was quite interesting because you could start building quite advanced software without writing code and being way faster. So that was the main thing. And I started exploring, I think 1.5 years ago, no-code tools. But it was always reaching limitations very fast. So being able to set up permissions that were right was really complicated. So security and those small, essential features for software were missing. And then I saw Bubble. I tried out Bubble, and there you have way less limitations when you're trying to create an app. So we opted for Bubble. We then started to see how we could find clients that would use it. So we used the Bubble RFP, request for proposals, at the beginning to find clients on Bubble. But I think now they changed it and it's way more complex to get clients. I'm not doing this part actually. It's my my business partner who is taking care of the sales pipeline. So I don't really know how he does that, and he does it well. So don't really care too much. And so that's how it started. We could find some first clients using the Bubble RFPs, and we started to build on this.
Okay, it's more of like an R&D at the beginning. Is that correct?
Right.
In terms of security, has it been improved? Has it improved in like Bubble and Webflow?
In the past years, yeah. I mean, for instance, before, whenever you were trying to keep your database in Airtable, it would be very complicated to secure your table, or not to have to open completely your Airtable database to software, for instance, or to any front-end no-code tool that you would plug them in. And this was a big problem, for instance, with software. You could really easily go and pull all the data of the Airtable database that was linked to it if you just open the dev tools of your browser and you check what you're getting. But now it got fixed. So I think it's getting better and better, of course, but at the beginning it was a bit
Okay,
wild.
that's good to know. Security is really a big issue right now.
Depends which stage the application is, but once it starts getting a lot of data, yes, it can be a problem.
I
And
agree.
it was the same with Glide app, I think. So Glide app, there are a lot of people that are doing HR app with this. So in the HR system, of course, you have salaries and stuff like this, but you still want to have a portal where your employees can see the basic data. The issue is that most of the time it was not properly secured. And if they just open the dev tools, they could fetch all the data about someone, for instance. So address, salary, etc., would be
Yeah,
quite
there's
easy.
a lot of issues on that one. And you mentioned you started R&D. What was your first project or your company's first project using no code? Is it purely no code or a mix, or what's
So before we were doing other projects using code, but I think the question is more which one was the first no code things that we did. It was actually before my business partner joined the company.
Oh.
He had an idea about a platform to manage events, so business events basically. And no-code tools are quite good to do those kind of marketplaces. So where you have buyers and sellers or any type of related user types, you can quite easily build that with no code. It's quite efficient. So yeah, those kind of applications are also now the ones that we also get often, as in our client base. Like marketplaces is a big one where you have two user types, and one is buying and the other one is selling a service, a product, or providing a service, and the other one is using the service. It's quite common in the code. Yeah.
Okay. Is that still up, like that project?
No, I think we shut it down.
Okay. Any other like interesting projects you've worked on within your company that you've also used purely no code tools?
Yeah, there are a lot of them. Like what we do as well at the moment, quite a lot are software that are using AI. So basically creating a specialized version of ChatGPT. For instance, for education, so for teachers to create course content or anything related to their course that they need, they can go to a platform which would automatically pre-prompt what you need into the OpenAI API, and you would be able to generate the content very fast and without having to be very specialized yourself into prompting stuff. So yeah, those applications are quite exciting. And now with everyone using ChatGPT, we have more examples, and also people coming with more precise requirements because they understand better how AI is working. So they can more easily come with feature requests that are doable as well, and that makes sense for the user.
Yeah, you mentioned about AI, so I think that's one trending topic right now. I know in No-code PH, we're also trying to look into no-code and AI. So yeah, for the audience, look out for that one. But yeah, AI is pretty trending right now. And you mentioned you started as a freelancer. And like what are the some common misconceptions about freelancing with no code?
I've never worked myself as a freelancer with no code, so
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly, and I wouldn't be able to give too many pieces of advice on this. I guess yeah, like I was freelancing before as full code developer. It was the moment where it was quite easy to get hired. Whenever you were doing any JavaScript or Python coding.
Yeah, I'm using Python right now, so I understand. Yeah. So anyone in the audience, you can also try and share in case you have experiences as well in terms of our questions. So, and probably another question for me, Remi, like how do you stay up to date with the latest no-code trends and tools? So I know there are a lot coming out right now. I think it was a month ago, we've done a software challenge. I think that's a bit new in the community. So for you, how do you stay up to date?
There are multiple things. So often we get like people talk just around or on LinkedIn, yeah, seeing like this tool popping up multiple times. But then it doesn't mean that I will explore it, because if I would do so, I would spend my whole day trying out tools. So it really depends. We also have some the people we know that are using no code. Also, they would talk about one tool. They would usually use it, and you can just ask them before you even try it yourself what they think about it, if you know they tried it. And if there are people that you trust, often if they say it's a useless tool, you just not even touch it. And if they are hyped by it, usually it means that it's good. So if ever you have those type of friends that are doing the the researches for you, it's very good. And yeah, I mean, our staff as well is often talking about new tools, and usually when they talk about new tools, it's because they are interesting ones. So it's mainly this, but the issue is that yeah, you have thousands of new no-code tools popping up every year, and you don't know which one could be interesting, because they can fail for a lot of reasons, right? Even just bad financial finance management, and they are out of the place. So it's a bit complicated to choose them. But basically, at the moment, yeah, we have kind of a list of tools that we know, and we know the ones that we use the most because they are shining in their area. Like for instance, like if you do a branding website, you should use Webflow. There is no other tool at the moment that is capable of getting a very good result with branding website than Webflow.
Can we ask? All right, thank you, Carla, for muting. But yeah, thanks, Remi. You mentioned about using Webflow for web tools. So just curious, like how you chose Bubble and Webflow for your projects. I know you've done an R&D on it. Like, what were the major factors that made you decide and use them?
Well, one thing is that a lot of other agencies are using this, so it's really a good sign to say that they are the ones that are performing the best in their field. And then yeah, just that Bubble, we didn't have a tool that was that cheap and that advanced at the same time. Now with the new pricing, let's see how it goes. And Webflow, it's just simply the new WordPress. There's no maintenance as you have on WordPress, where you get really very, very complicated infrastructure to maintain, and it's very fast. People are very fast to learn it as well in our staff. And it's very fast to develop, but also to use as a user. It's very, very fast. If you compare to Bubble, which Bubble you would get a bit more slowness because it's a more complex engine that runs behind. While Webflow is super, super fast.
Okay, so it's more on the speed for
The
web.
speed and also, yeah, the feeling as a user, like if you go to a branding website, it's always important that the website is fast and feels good. Which is not the case of our website at the moment. It's still built on Bubble.
Are you planning to transition to Webflow?
Yeah, we're planning. We just need to figure out some marketing elements and then we transition.
Okay, cool. So for you, Webflow is better than Bubble?
For branding website, yes, but then you can't create any type of app with Webflow. You're only bound to this content management system. So you can create a blog, you can have your case studies easily from the admin dashboard, but you can't build any database or anything with Webflow.
Oh, that's cool. And yeah, you mentioned like, I know using no-code tools, it really comes with a cost. Like using Python, it's free online, right? So I mean, how do you market or how do you like propose this kind of transitions from using the traditional going no code to your clients or even to your business partner? Because I know he's the one looking for clients, right?
Yeah, I mean, for our clients, in the end, no code is less expensive for them because it's not only the price you pay for the to get the app run, but also to develop, right? So for us, when we use no-code tools, we would also need way less engineering in it. We would need only one developer instead of probably one front-end developer, one back-end developer, a bit of DevOps. Additionally, that would also slow down a lot the process, having to coordinate all those people and make everything perfect. So for them, in terms of cost, it's way less expensive, the development cost. And then depends how many users they will get and how heavy the load will be on the platform. But it's not the major cost that they would have to pay for the monthly fee of Bubble or another service.
So the cost is the major player, like really encouraging people to use no code tools. Is that correct?
If you have to pay for development time, yes.
Yeah, it's expensive. And yeah, since we're already discussing on the cost, like how do you like determine the pricing for no code projects in your not really the exact, but probably like a formula, or what are your bases mostly in terms of coming up with a pricing for the project?
Yeah, scoping is always a tough topic. It's very complicated to put a price on the requirements because you can interpret the requirements in a lot of ways. But what we usually do is, from experience, we know, okay, this platform, those requirements are similar to another software or app that we built before. And by comparison, we kind of estimate an amount of time that it would require. And from that, yeah, we just suggest to the clients how long it would take time, our daily rate, and that's how we estimate. Then sometimes clients come with quite blurry requirements. And in this case, we can't really give any fixed scope, so we will work time-based. But it's the same way. We will still try to give a rough estimates on how long it would take, but we wouldn't be bound to this estimate because there are too many unknowns, and we would just say that they pay per time.
In terms of maintenance, is that also like part of the pricing, or do you factor that in as well?
Yeah, we invoice the time we spend additionally to the project.
So it's already included in your initial estimate.
I mean, they have our daily rate, so if they need more features, they kind of need.
Okay, cool. So how many no-code developers do you have in your company right now?
At the moment, only 5.
Okay. Like, what are some like of the most in-demand no-code skills for developers, no-code developers?
Um, that's a good question, because for us we just use the tools that we use, and our clients we recommend to use those tools. So to me at the moment, Bubble is the main one that we're using for apps, but we know other agencies that are not really doing applications but more consultancy on how to automatize some part of some processes inside your business. And for this, Airtable is used a lot. Retool as well, from what we heard. Also for bigger companies, there are also other tools that that they use that are more on enterprise level tools, and those ones, I guess they are more in trend, but I guess it's a bit harder to find a job right away with those. And what else did we hear about? Yeah, Webflow is quite good if you do branding websites, and if you're already a UX designer and you want to actually build the actual website, it works well.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really fully used Bubble yet, but it's interesting, and Webflow. So like for example, when you post an opening of a no-code developer, is there like a high application rate right now with this current?
We usually for on our company we usually don't post. We don't do job posting because we get too many applications that are not relevant most of the time. Like if you post on LinkedIn or how is the Indeed is the major one, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed. The only way we hire people now is only to direct reach on LinkedIn. So I send messages to people on LinkedIn, and I already know that they should be somehow in the field at least, and with a bit of experience.
Okay. So yeah, for the audience, networking is good.
For the audience networking, they should polish their LinkedIn profile and probably be on Twitter as well. I'm not on Twitter too much, but I see that Twitter is a big place to advertise oneself. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm not in the Twitter world, but I agree with Remi to polish our LinkedIn profiles. It really helps, like the hiring people a lot to get to know you even without talking to you yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right, is that correct? Sorry.
Yeah, and I think the portfolio as well, if you have apps that are very good looking and that you've done before, it's really important, I think.
Okay. So right now, Remi, do you have like an issue in your current company, like having a lot of projects at the same time?
Is it an issue? Yes, but it's not really an issue either, because it means that you can choose a bit better as well the projects that you want to target. So
How do you prioritize those projects?
no, okay, I understand. No, but our system is quite simple actually for this. We don't have this issue then, because what we do is that we have developers and they work full time on a project. So for instance, we have a project that is taking a month and a half. We would allocate a developer to work for a month and a half on this project full time.
Okay.
So we don't have this issue of having one person juggling 3 projects at the same time. And then on top of the developer, I mean, with the developer, there will be product people, more advanced tech people, in QA. And yeah, they need to juggle between projects, but it's only about, I mean, it's easier for them because they are used to jump between projects, and they would be requested for help rather than having themselves to work on specific projects.
So like at one time, there are a maximum of 5 projects ongoing in your company since you have 5
Exactly.
developers, roughly. Okay, like how do you handle like revisions and changes to a project scope? You mentioned earlier like some of the clients their demands change. I think
Yeah.
it's a common trend in the technology in the software technology industry. So how do you
Yeah.
manage that?
Yeah, and I guess as a freelancer, it's the biggest pain point if you're working scope based. So there are two types of way to work. Either you commit to a scope, either you commit to time, right? So if you commit to a scope, you have an initial scope, you sign a contract, or you just shake hands with your with your client, and there's a scope. In this case, yes, if there are changes in the scope, we would charge it. Or can happen that if they want to swap features early in the process and say, oh, actually, I don't want this type of dashboard, I want another type of dashboard, and we see it's equivalent, we can say yes, or we can just reduce a little bit the request so that it keeps on the same price. But any change would be charged. And yes, we need to have this list of initial scope well written somewhere and go back to it often so that you don't go out of the scope without getting paid. And if it's a project which is time-based, so we commit only on time, we don't commit on scope. So if the client wants to change the scope, it's absolutely no problem. That's how I was working when I was working as a freelancer in code. I was working time-based, so whatever the client wants, I don't need to estimate and be bound to an estimate. Of course, I need to deliver, but if the client wants to change after 3 days, he wants to change completely the plan. It's not a big problem financially. But then, of course, we would prefer to follow a plan and not having to work for no result, but at least you get paid, right?
Yeah, I was surprised about the time base and scope base. So thanks for sharing on that one. And yeah, my dog is but yeah, in terms of you've also mentioned about QA people in your company. So just curious, like how do you do QA on products created by no code tools?
That's a good question. We hired only experienced QA people, so we don't really know at the moment how they do it. They do it well, so we just see the results. The exact process how they do it, we don't know. We don't know yet. We're still small, so they're doing it, and there's no problem. So we don't really check it. But they do it on the way we organize ourselves is that we split projects into epics and user stories. So a developer we develop a user story, and then he will move the user story from in progress to ready for QA. And then the QA tester will come test the feature, which is described in a user story. So it's a ticket in a ticket. And if it's good, he would just move it further to client review or send it back to development.
Okay.
But they basically just go to the app, check if what was written as a feature is actually what is implemented and working, and validate or not if it's working.
Okay. Cool. So just curious. Do you also do like agile within the like even if using no code tools?
Yeah, I follow very similar workflow as we would in full code. The only difference is that we can include way more features in sprints. We don't really do sprints, but let's say in sprints. Because you're way faster to implement any of the features from like the backend and the front end at the same time. And so yeah, we have a Kanban board with a backlog of features that you can specify. Then once they're specified and they are stamped as priority, they would go to develop, and then they are first designed in the Figma design, and then they are developed for mobile applications.
Okay. What tool do you use in terms of managing that?
ClickUp.
Sorry?
We ClickUp.
ClickUp?
ClickUp.
ClickUp. Oh, I haven't.
It's a similar product as Asana or Jira. I mean, more similar to Asana, but it's a project management tool. That Clickup.com exactly. That's very quite powerful for a team. I guess if your client doesn't have a project management tool, you can use anything like Trello will be enough. But for us, because we have also QA and product involved in the process, sometimes we have quite complex applications to develop. So we need also strong documentation, strong follow-up on them. It's quite cool to have. And because you can put directly in ClickUp your documentation about your project as well. So it's all in one place. Yeah, which is very good. Even we limit quite a lot of emails from the clients as well by having most of the communication directly in ClickUp.
Mm. Yeah,
Which
I'm more
makes it-
familiar with Jira and Trello. Like in terms of the cost for ClickUp, is it free or is it like the pricing?
It's
So-
extremely expensive. I think it's twice more expensive as Jira.
Oh,
And Trello is almost free, so yeah. But you get with the new version as well, like I think now it's ClickUp 2.0. They included some features that could now replace Jira. I was used to Jira before with coding, and ClickUp was not really there to be able to implement like strict workflows that we have in Jira. Also doing some automations with other tools like the versioning control system and stuff like this.
Mhm.
But now ClickUp got very good at this. So of course it's super slow as Jira is.
mm-mm.
Software
Yeah.
extremely slow, but they are very complex software, so we can't really blame them on this. But yeah, the way the way you can configure it is very advanced, very interesting. The only thing in ClickUp is notifications are awful. It's really hard to manage notifications there, so we almost don't use them at the moment. But it's very good. And then we use Notion for more like general documentation about how we work and us rather than specific to a project.
You can link the Notion to ClickUp. Is that correct?
You can use your URL links, but you can't really preview Notion in ClickUp or anything like this.
Okay, but there's no like integration of Notion within ClickUp.
Not that we use.
Okay. Yeah, when we were using Jira, it was really slow. So it takes some minutes to update some of the cards. And yeah, I'm not sure why it's so slow. But yeah, for the audience, if you have any other like, project management tools that you've been using, you can share it with us. So you can place in our chat. And yeah, like for you, Remi, how long have you been using no-code tools?
So I started, maybe 2 years ago with the AppSheet, something like this.
Apps.
But before, actually, when I started to learn how to code, the very first lessons of C++, I used Qt, and Qt has Qt Creator, but it was maybe 15 years ago. And
What
you
was
could drag it. Qt, it's a C++ library to
Oh,
create desktop apps. And you could already drag and drop your front-end elements, and then you would write the backend in like typing C++.
I haven't heard about that, but okay.
It's basically like you would be it's like a local tool, basically.
The earlier versions of
But they
no.
didn't call it like this before. They were just calling it any like user interface creator or something like this.
Yeah, I think there has been a lot of no-code tools already in the past, but it wasn't recognized as no-code tools. Like I myself, I was shocked to know like I learned like UiPath last year, and it's only when I knew it was a no-code tool. I like, the label for it. So it's really like still emerging in our community, or I mean globally probably. And yeah, I think another question would be like you started fairly like 2 years ago, you mentioned, and
Yeah.
the first no code tools that you've used, it's way back. But what's the like what suggested mindset do you have for those who would want to start as a no code developer or specifically freelancer, because that's our session for today.
Which one to use now to start learning and using?
Probably just like the mindset when learning new no-code tools.
It was, I think it's important that you have a small project that you like to build, so that you have a bit more motivation, of course, and you can try to build it on any no-code tool and see also the limitations of it. But if it's the recommendation about which tool, I guess software is a good one to start, but it's so simple that it can be hard to get then into more complex no-code tools. And Bubble is more complex, so you can do more advanced applications as well. But I don't really know what the question is.
Yeah, I mean you've answered it, Remi, but yeah, in terms of it's more of like what advice would you give to those who would want to start learning no code?
Yeah, start with Bubble probably now. We can get it for free, I guess, for most of the parts. And you can do quite advanced stuff, or Webflow if you want to do branding websites.
They have a trial period as well, right? Trial.
Webflow, I think you can start for free, yes. And then if you want to do some automations, I don't know, you have crazy Excel sheets that you want to automate. Airtable is very good. You can't really create an application, but you can automate a lot of things. Airtable, make.com are quite interesting tools as well.
Okay. And yeah, I think some of our audiences here are still probably like in our community, it's a mix of students and professional people. So probably what are your like how do you balance your professional and your personal life? As a
You start working at a specific time and you stop at another time, and you try to plan your days so that you do your job in between.
yeah, do you mostly do work from home right now, or you?
Yeah, only from home. Yeah. That's what also why I wanted to be into IT at the beginning, because I want to enjoy work from home. It was way before COVID, so it was not that common. And yeah, that's one of the big reasons why I moved from mechanical engineering to IT.
Oh,
And how to balance, yes, make sure you go out of your home and and that you just don't stay all the time in front of your computer working.
yeah, there's a world outside your four walls. Is that correct?
Yes, just need to remember that, yeah, we stand up every 2 hours and that's it.
Yeah, actually in my previous company, they always remind us to stand up after 2 hours, especially for software engineers. So yeah, I agree with you, Remy, in terms of like balancing, like creating a boundary or a time limit when you would work or not. So you would be easily burned out if you work 24 hours of your day just doing your project. I know it would be difficult for especially for freelancing people because they're like you hold your own time. So you must know how to set up your own limits to be able to work efficiently.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's more about efficiency than about actually time limits. But yes, if you work efficiently and you also probably trying to communicate very well as possible so the client or anyone working with you would help not receiving any of those messages too late. Maybe that's one of the big things. Yes, being able to be very transparent on his work. So maybe making all the work that you do as public as possible. I don't know, we use Trello maybe on tickets that are blocking, like really being precise about why they are blocking, reporting this and making this basically public and making sure that people can have access to this information without having to reach you on the chat. It will help a lot. And also it will help speeding up the process basically because they would have all the information in written probably, or maybe with a small screen record. be very easy for them to understand what it is, rather than spending 30 minutes on a call. They can just read 5 minutes and maybe watch a 2 minutes long video. So
Yeah.
efficiency, good communication would probably help to not to have to work outside of the expected time.
Yeah, I agree. I also agree on that one because they would ask why is it delayed and all. So at least everything's transparent already, so they know what happened during the process.
Yes, and also if you feel that you need to answer clients after working hours, yes, it's probably because things were not transparent at the beginning, and making your mistake not public, it's not a good idea if you want to keep your frustration away, or keep the frustration away from the clients.
Yeah, I know Filipinos has the tendency to keep it all to ourselves sometimes. So yeah, communication really is the key in terms of like a successful project. And as you mentioned, Remy, actually my next question is how do you build and maintain relationships with client as a no-code developer? But I think you answered that one, unless you have additional like tips on how to maintain your relationship with clients. Like right now, how do you maintain those relationships with your current clients?
With our clients, yeah, I mean, they have access to the project management tool, so it helps them understanding if there are blockers, and if there are blockers, we can also redirect them directly to the right information there, or to the documentation. So having that from day zero shared with the client would help. Of course, if you do mistakes, it would be visible, but if you hide your mistakes, they would be even more frustrated. So just don't try to hide them, and they will happen, and they will understand. So yes, it's about making them understanding that you're not a robot, and that there will be mistake happenings, and it's not a problem. And on their side as well, there depends on the client's type of client they are, but they know that there are mistakes as well, so they will accept them without problem. And then yeah, we usually have, when it's running well, we have a weekly call with the clients, but it's usually scheduled for 30 minutes. But if there are no new requirements, usually it lasts like 5 to 10 minutes, because it's just about, they already have all the information, just about making sure that there are no missing information that were not communicated through the other channels. And that's it. Once you teach them how to use your project management tool, they should be quite happy, and they won't text you any moment almost.
Yeah, I agree on that one. And yeah, probably just from me, like for those who would be starting out as a developer, because I think like being a no-code developer and a full like a traditional developer, software developer, it's almost the same. Like if you make mistakes, don't make it too personal because it's just work. So don't be too hard on yourself. Is that right, Remy?
Yeah, for sure. And like, just the client is here to collaborate. He wants to get the most in the minimum amount of time. So if you have problems and he can help you, he will be happy to help you. You don't need to hide any of this. Just make it clear about what the blocker is. Try to have communication that is as clear as possible as well. So like precise, concise, and accurate. And usually, yeah, it's not a problem for a client to take even a lot of time to make things work.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and yeah, going back to no-code tools, like for you, Remy, what are your like best resources for learning and improving your skills?
Yeah, probably YouTube. There's only one thing with some no-code tools, is that some features they have that they advertise a lot are actually not really good. So for instance, Bubble, the templates of Bubble are impossible to use almost. Bubble plugins are not that great most of the time, but they would still have resources to teach, to tell you to use them. So you need to be a bit careful with those ones. Also, all the limitations of the no-code tools, they will try to hide them, so they will not really teach you the workarounds on their official documentation. So using YouTube videos can help a lot, because on the YouTube videos that are not the official ones from the platform, people will actually show you how to implement those workarounds to do things that the platform doesn't know how to do, and they won't tell you that they don't know, because they don't want bad advertisement. So YouTube is very helpful, but as a base, the official documentation helps as well.
Yeah, I initially thought the sites, the tool site is more efficient, but I agree with you on that one. Like it's more transparent, different angles in terms of using the tools. But YouTube is the number one resource for learning no code.
Definitely.
Okay. And for you, Remi, how do you see the future of no code evolving in the coming years?
So unless there is an AI that is creating your application in one prompt completely, like really fully, maybe it will disappear, but then traditional coding probably also disappear. So no, I think like there will be a lot of simplifications, and that's what we see. No code is just simplifications of how to develop software without writing code, and it starts integrating more and more components that you usually had to write code to implement. You can now have them without writing code, so it would probably just grow and grow, and you would be able to do more and more advanced operations on them. So yeah, I think there will be, we don't know, but probably there will be new tools like the new bubble that will come out with more features and less limitations, and maybe also for maybe even a cheaper price. But at the moment, yeah, there are a lot of no-code tools popping up, but none of them is really like taking all the market in one go. Just Webflow maybe is the one that is really like the go-to technology for branding websites and of websites. So yeah, probably there will be new no-code tools, and one or two of them will take a lot of the market because they will be cheaper and better than the other ones.
Yeah, for you, Remi, where do you usually like get the news of like there's a new up and coming no code tool? Like where do you learn about them?
No, from people around, and hearing the name like 2, 3, 4 times. Usually it means that you should have a look at it. And then I take note, and I have a list of tools that I explore when I have time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, actually, those are all of my questions for you, Remi. Do you have anything else that you want to share with our audience before I open the floor for Q&A?
My side, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, we still have time. For those in the audience, do you have any questions for Remi or for Crystal or for the No Code PH community? I'm opening the floor for questions. You can show your face so that we'll see more people here in the screen, or you can also message your questions in our chat.
And also, if people are already freelancing with no-code tools, it'd be interesting to know which no-code tools they are using and for which type of clients or applications. I mean, on my side, I'd be interested to know, but I don't know if it's interesting for everyone.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, if you have any tools, you can also share with us in our call. So there are
Is Webflow better than WordPress
I
for
haven't.
branding websites?
Crystal, do you have any comments?
Yes. But I buy it.
Webso is better. Yeah, I think WordPress is more. I forgot what other tool that was existing before WordPress.
But
But-
yes, if you try to build a blog, you'll get a way cleaner result and faster website, no bugs. That means that every month you need to change to maintain your plugins and update a lot of things. So yeah, Webflow is better. And then with Webflow, the only thing is that you need to pay probably per month if you want to keep your website in Webflow, but you could also just pay one time, extract all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and host it on a cheaper server.
What were the limitations of WordPress before? Or I mean, even right now? Are
No,
you
we don't use, we almost never use WordPress, almost. We just a little bit. And the issue is that you always need to use plugins most of the time if you don't want to actually code yourself your website or your application. And those plugins, they need to be updated because there is the core engine of WordPress that will get updates, and you need the plugins to also be updated according to the new updates of WordPress. But they are not the same developers doing the core engine of WordPress updates and the plugin updates. So there's always a delay. And so sometimes WordPress itself will will push an update, and the plugin is not compatible with this. So the plugin will not be working until you actually update the plugin by yourself, if the plugin is updated. And so you have a lot of cases where the WordPress website is down because your plugins are not updated. Also security issues. There are always a lot of security issues for the same reason. And so you need to really update all the time your WordPress plugins. If you have multiple plugins, then compatible between each other, I guess. So you can create complex stuff, but they are also very brittle websites.
okay? For Webflow, if they have improvements, it automatically integrates into your site. Is that correct?
You don't have for basic things. You don't need to use any plugins.
Oh,
So
okay.
just one block, and it's Webflow doing it. So they're only responsible for Webflow to be working.
All right. Thanks, Remi. So there's another question here. Do you think AI will be able to replace web developers in the near future? Would software development still be a good path to tread?
I mean, what could happen, and what some platforms, I don't remember which ones, I think make.com is starting to do that, is that with one prompt you can't really generate a website that will do what you want exactly. But what you should be able to do is pre-generate a website and visually see what it pre-generated, like see the components and being able to go and edit. That's what you do when at the moment when you talk to ChatGPT, you can generate text and then you copy the text and you will edit it according to exactly what you want. It rarely gives you exactly the right answer right away. You still need to rework it a little bit. And it would be probably the same. You may be able to pre-generate a Webflow website with a prompt, and then you can go to the Webflow editor and change the things that needs to be adjusted from the pre-generated content. So that's one thing that should happen quite soon. That's what we see, for instance, for UX UI design. There are a lot of applications that are popping up to be able from a prompt to generate a UX UI design directly. So of course you need to readjust it and you need to be able to edit it by yourself, but a lot of the work is already pre-made.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I actually encountered that during our software challenge last time. So I was amazed to see like you can input like it's similar to ChatGPT. It will generate like the initial design for you. And there's another one here. Any tips on finding or networking clients? From Aga Micarte.
At least for me, LinkedIn works the best. I don't know now because I think it's words changed a little bit also with this AI, and probably a lot of people are reaching you out on LinkedIn, but they are just robots. And don't know how much accurate they are, but to me, and so it's also like recruiters, I guess they are getting so many requests just AI generated that you may be just in the noise if you try to reach them out. Before it would work quite well to reach out people on LinkedIn. But for sure, having a LinkedIn profile well updated and polished with the portfolio and everything helps. But networking, yeah, I don't know. Like being able to show your portfolio and like show that you know how to create apps helps a lot. Or create web design and maybe posting on Medium how you created an application, some tips and tricks could help. Writing articles as well on LinkedIn probably would help as well. But it's
LinkedIn
network.
is like the
Yeah.
business version of Facebook. Yeah. I think Crystal, you also have ideas on this question. Do you have any input on this question?
I would just concentrate on personal branding also, because like it's important to clients that you know that you are a reliable, trustworthy freelancer. So you should like really invest in like a portfolio website and so that's what I would suggest. Yeah, because you could do all the networking you want, but if you're not like, if you don't have a good LinkedIn profile, for example, if your LinkedIn profile doesn't even have like your experience, doesn't even have like some stuff in there, then the client wouldn't be attracted to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. So credibility, build up your market yourself, your marketing. And yeah, I am not sure, but just probably from me as well, like going to conferences or even to startup week is also a good idea in terms of networking. So you'll meet other people, like-minded people, and possibly your own client in the future. So I know pandemic has already a bit, it's already less and less strict in terms of doing a face-to-face conferences. So I think it's also a good idea to go to those conferences, even on a personal budget. So yeah. Thanks guys for your inputs on this question. Any more question from the audience? Okay, just came in. What's the best no-code tool to create portfolio websites?
It depends what you want to do actually, but also for the if it's the portfolio just to showcase your work. I saw people just using Notion page, public Notion page, which is free and it works. It's not customized. It's not most beautiful, but it works very well and it's online.
What was it, Remi?
A Notion, just a Notion page.
Notion, okay.
They would just create a Notion page with the database inside and the cards, and that's it. You can click and see all their UX UI design or applications that they contributed to. And if you have a bit, yeah, I guess this is actually the best one I've seen. Yes, no, okay. But I don't know. What do you use, Crystal, usually for the portfolio?
Our own website is in Webflow. So yeah, my personal website, however, is WordPress because Webflow is kind of expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, then it depends on your skill. If you know one way to put something online, just use this way. Probably it will be faster for you, and depends on on the tool could be cheaper as well. And if not, just open a Notion, create a Notion page, and you put it online. It's 3 clicks and it's done.
Yeah, I've tried creating my portfolio using software, but I haven't published it yet because they already have a template. I think most of the tools have a template for like creating your portfolio site, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's the only one I tried to use last month. All right. Any more questions from the audience? Okay, going once, going twice. All right. So yeah, I think that's all of our questions for today. Thank you so much, Remi. Thank you, Crystal.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And yeah, I hope everyone got some insights on how to start or continue being a no-code developer, especially for those who are doing a freelance job right now. So thank you so much. And if you have any more questions, just drop in our Discord server. Don't hesitate to put any questions there. We have we have our channel there, or if you have any openings or collaborations you want with our community, we also have a channel for collaborations in there. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. If you have more questions for me as well, you can add me on LinkedIn.
Okay. All right. I'll add you on LinkedIn.
I mean, if everyone can add me on LinkedIn and follow Naviu on LinkedIn, it will help, of course.
Okay. Yeah. I can add us on LinkedIn. We all have our profiles there. And yeah, thank you very much. Again, thank you, Remi. And yep, yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.